All right, all right. Hello, everybody. How is everyone doing? Oh, goodnesses. I am so nervous and excited at the same time.
Yeah, why are you
Today we're
nervous?
going. There's just something about being live that I'm just like, this is too scary. I just can't handle it. I'm
It
fragile.
is. It is. And it's
Uh,
more pressure on your own channel. Me, I'm just chilling.
I know. When I was on Aaliyah's channel Sunday, it was just like, it's just besties hanging out. Like, there's no pressure, no worries. But now it's me being like, okay, is everything running fine?
Yeah.
There's
You've
a
done a
cat
really
in my
nice
lap.
background. Oh, yeah? Which cat?
Yeah, my cat is making biscuits on my lap, and it's showing. She's like this in my lap. I'm like, this can't be comfortable for you, but it's fine.
She loves
I
you
am
too
joined.
much. She
I
doesn't
know
mind.
she doesn't. She doesn't care. She doesn't have enough brain cells to really know what's going on, but that's fine. Just cat slander. I'm joined with my friend Daphne. If you want to introduce yourself, your channel, in case anyone's
Sure.
new.
Hi. I'm Daphne. I've been pretty close with Sam for how many years now? Like
Oh my
3 or
goodness,
so? Like a lot?
2 or 3.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Been at least 2 Christmases.
Yes.
My channel's being Daphne. I read mostly romance, but I read other genres as well, just not really like horror and thriller that much. So that's me.
Yeah, that sounds correct. That sounds correct. We are live now.
Oh yeah, I want to
Doing
post
my
that
job.
too.
Anywho, we're here to talk about Golden Sun by Pierce Brown, Book 2, and the Red Rising saga. We would be joined by Eliza, but she did not get to this in time. Our dear friend. Which I can't even shame her because I started this last night and I finished it an hour before the show today. So I too am, we're just the type to be like, I have a thing, I'll put it off to the last second. So we're going to basically just talk about this whole thing, full spoilers, just going through it, talking about it. I don't have questions or structure this time because, again, I finished this an hour ago. So,
When was the last time you read it? Because you've read it all the way through before, right?
yes, I read it April of 2022. So it's been almost 3 years.
Mm.
So I did not remember as much as I thought I did. I remember the ending vaguely. I remember like 2 scenes vaguely. Everything else was like fresh. I was like, wow, okay. So
Yeah.
it was I cried twice.
Really? Oh wow.
I don't know what it is when I pick up Red Rising. I just get so emotional.
I was totally invested. I really like the second book more, even more than the first one. I think now that I have like a good understanding of the world and all that. Um, and I just love Darrow, and I love Severo even more, and I
He's great.
love Ragnar. Love
Yes.
him.
He's one of my favorites. I'm so excited for you to meet him. Okay, I need to close my window, but my chair is so rolly. All right, safety. What'd you rate it?
I gave it a solid 4 stars.
Nice. Okay. And you
Mhm.
gave Red Rising 3?
I gave it 3, and then I think I rounded up to 4 after talking with you, but I think realistically 3.5.
That makes
3.5.
sense.
Because this one
Yeah.
was definitely I liked more.
I think this is where he really gets his voice, where Pierce Brown is like, this is what the series is going to be. Whereas I think Red Rising was like, let me give you a classic dystopian to lure you
Yeah.
in. And now it's like, let me have you shine. Can you stop eating that, please? Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah, I felt like all the political maneuvering and like the scheming was really interesting. Look at the kitty.
She hates being held.
I thought that would really shine through in this. And he did that a bit in the first one too. Once Darrow was like really trying to show that he was the leader and like solidify that. That was really clever. But now that he has more respect, trying to keep it was like, I just thought it was so well done.
Yeah, I love the politics. I think this is a masterclass for anyone who's ever written a fantasy series of how how to write an expansive world and grow upon it as like the series goes on, but also a masterclass of having a bajillion characters and it
Mm-hmm.
not being overwhelming and confusing. Like I know who everybody is for the most part. And if
Mm-hmm.
they even just pop in, I'm like, yeah, you're familiar enough. Like I understand you because he gives every character something. And so I just always appreciate that because I'm like, yeah, I know these people now. And so I think that's why I also cried twice. So I'm just like these people.
Yeah. I think transitioning in the beginning from audiobook to reading it with my eyes, like I only read it with my eyes this time. I was like, who's Roke again? Because I'd never seen his name written down before.
Yeah,
I was
that's
like,
so fair.
oh,
When
like
I
that's
first
the
saw him,
poet.
the poet, yeah. It's just like everybody has like a thing about them, but I did
Yeah,
that too a couple of times where it's like coming back to it. I was like, okay, I know Ragnar's showing up, but I don't remember all the other new characters. So I
yeah.
was just waiting for him. I was like, he's gonna show up eventually.
Also, I thought it was interesting right off the bat when you dive in. It's like a 2-year time jump or at least a year or something. I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, we just skipped a lot."
So we start Red Rising when he's about 16, 17, and then we spend like 2 years with him in the institute doing the Hunger Games. They spend a lot of time. I think it's like a whole year they spend in
Mhm.
like the trial situation. And then yeah, it time jumps 2 years. So he's 20 now in this book. And we don't get to see the rest of his schooling, but we pick up at like the end tail of the battle spaceship fight in the school. And I don't know. I kind of like that we just got to jump into it. I think it helps the series grow up with the audience. Like you feel more adult
Mm.
reading it. I read his acknowledgments and he read. Wow, I have talked a lot today. If you couldn't tell, words are really easy for me right now. He wrote Red Rising 7 years before Golden Sun got published. So I think it makes sense for his writing journey to have like started a series, but continued it later in life that he wanted to age up the characters with himself.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and I think because there was gonna be so much detail in how the, like, overthrowing of the sovereign, like, how much that he wanted to go into that, like, it was necessary to kinda be like, "Okay, just trust me that Darrow's, like, learned a lot and he's gained some skills
He's
to make the
still
sequel."
not great at like the socializing and politicking with the people. Like he's
Mhm.
still a little bit harsh to be
Mhm.
around,
Mhm.
but he like grows I think within this book as well, but still has like the brute strength of just being like I can kill, but I'm also really weak and have a soft spot for a lot of things.
Yeah. Like, he'll like, so many people are scared of him or they're like, "Oh, he's this, like,
He's
godlike
this killer.
man." But then he's with his friends and he'll cry and he'll, like, need a hug, you know? He is
I
soft on the inside.
Yeah, I know. I really appreciated seeing him break down like throughout the series of like or this book of just like the emotional vulnerable spots that we got where different characters you could see his journey with them. When he broke down with Mustang, I think he cried with Severa at some point, and I was just
Mhm.
like these are the touching little moments. But I do feel like this book packed so much into it for it being less than 500 pages. I was kind of surprised. Like it felt like a lot of action and a lot of politics the whole time. There wasn't like a slow moment to just breathe.
No. And the battle scenes too, like, sometimes reading battle scenes, it can be like, "Okay, I mean, we're pretty much with the main character. He'll probably be decently okay." But, like, you couldn't skim it because 'cause you're like, "Where am I in the world? What sneaky things are gonna happen?" Like, you really have to pay attention on those long battles. Um,
Yeah.
so, yeah, that was crazy, and just, like, seeing him almost die a couple times and, like, how many of his friends died, and, like, the stakes are real. Like, this is a real
Yeah.
war.
You
So,
cannot trust Pierce Brown to keep anybody alive. You can't get too
yeah.
attached to anybody or you're gonna get hurt.
Yeah, like, I didn't even know Quinn that well, but just the way that she got murdered, I was like, "Jeez." And everybody really cared about her, and seeing that they
Yeah.
couldn't save her was quite sad.
Yeah, the impact that everything has. It's not one of those books where it's like, "Oh, and then XYZ died, and then we all move on and don't think about
Yeah.
it again." It's like, "Oh, no, this has consequences now." It's like, "Okay, she."
Oh,
I know.
yeah.
Think about the ending.
I'm just thinking also about the relationships in the story, so, like, he was really close with Roke. Do you pronounce is it Roke or Rock?
Roke.
Roke? Roke,
Think.
right? The poet. And when Augustus, the leader guy, the governor, was gonna get rid of Darrow because his reputation got stained because he didn't win the school thing, he was, like, gonna dump him. And then he had this whole plan with the Sons of Ares to, like, blow up the event, right? Because that Harmony chick was like, "Nah, we're not doing it subtle
Yeah,
anymore,"
things are
like, da 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 da
sad,
da. I was
and
like,
we don't know
"Mm,
who he is, and everything's bad, so it's all on me
yeah."
now.
And I was like, "I don't like her." So he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna blow this place up. I'm gonna protect Rogue and, like, stab him with a needle so he passes out and isn't in the danger zone." And he's like trying to protect him, but that really bit him in the butt by the
It
end because
did.
Roke just didn't trust him after that. Like he went back and like, chaos ensues. He doesn't blow it up, blah, 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 for everybody that needs a refresher who's watching this.
Who's curious about the plot, which is why we're here
Right?
lately. Yeah,
He
so
saves
Darrow,
Roke and then he's like not into it.
I think the big issue is like it shows that Darrow is really like the whole weight of everything happening is on him and he is responsible for
Mhm.
so many small moving parts that I think he realized it too, but he completely neglected that relationship. Like so many people were like, you need to start making amends with him. And Darrow's just like, yeah, 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 after the 100 other things I need to do. Like
Yeah.
just kept making him a lower priority to keep him at arm's distance. And it's like, well,
Mhm.
yeah, if you do that to
Oh,
people, they're gonna betray you a little bit. They're not gonna be
oh,
happy when their girlfriend dies in front of you.
oh, that betrayal at the very end hurt so bad from Roke.
Oh my god, I
Oh
know.
man. I
I
was
know.
like,
But I love the
no.
way that it was hinted throughout. Like, it wasn't just like a out of nowhere plot twist of just like, oopsie, things have happened. It was just very subtle groundwork being laid throughout the book that you're just like, what is gonna happen? How is this gonna end? Because you go from the end of the Institute where Darrow gets second place and Augustus is like, I don't think I want you anymore. You're not politically savvy. You're just a
Mhm.
dumb brute. To
Mhm.
the gala where Darrow's like, all right, yeah, I find out that Io was pregnant and I'm going to kill everybody, bomb the whole place, and then decides, no, I can't. I actually care for all these golds, even if they're dirty and suck and have bad qualities as well. Yeah, laying that groundwork of being like, all right, Rogue, sorry. I'm trying to save you and be good right now, but then he sees Mustang and that gets rekindled. I love
Mhm.
Mustang in this.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because at first it's like, oh, the golds are evil, which, for the most part they kind of are. But he's like, I want it to be more than just like colors versus colors. He's like, we're all people, so he wants to find his friends as redeemable, and that gold can
Yeah,
be
which
redeemed.
I really enjoyed about Tactus, especially because so much political maneuverings happen and just action constantly and so much betrayal. You can't trust anybody.
Yeah.
But when Tactus takes Lysander, the small
Lysander, yeah.
child,
Hmm.
and then comes back at the end to be like, ha ha ha, I actually don't want to kill all these kids because I have a heart. I do care, but was trying to get like politically ahead and just him breaking down. And I was
Hmm.
like, yes, Darrow's forgiving him. Darrow sees the good in him, even if there's issues among not just the golds, but the class system as a whole. And there's a whole bunch we can go into that about how that can relate to nowadays and
Yeah.
racism and everything.
Yeah.
But oh, it broke my heart because Daryl was like, "No, Tactus, like, we'll keep you safe. It's gonna be fine, I promise." And then Lauren's just like, "No," even though he didn't technically like do anything worse. Like, he didn't kill the kids. He just almost did, but he had a conscience and he didn't do it. And then Lauren was like, "No."
Yeah, to be honest, I was like, I wouldn't be able to trust Tactus ever again. Like I
Yeah,
wanted, that story for Darrow and to be like, yes, like he could be better, but it's just so hard. Like people can change for sure, but people have to want to change themselves. You can't make anybody change. And I was just so nervous. I'm like, this guy, he's a little too of a risk. Like you don't have to kill him, but like I don't think he can be in like the trusted elite group. And then
yeah.
Lauren just decided for him. He's like, nope, shank, shank, shank.
But they did the same thing with Vitra, which I think again really goes to show like
Mm.
how Roke was over and over and over again betrayed in small ways of like, okay, he
Mhm.
cared about Tactus. They were good friends. So him dying on like after the promise of Darrow being like, you'll be safe with us, that hurts a little bit. And then everybody was like, we can't trust Vitra. Her whole family is with the enemy. We can't do that. And Roke is the only one that stood up for her. And then, she came around. She was trusted and we loved her. But it all sucks. It all hurts.
It's just nice too because Darrow as the main character isn't perfect. Right. So he wants to see the best in everyone. And like he trusted Victra and she vouched for her family when they traded sides again. They were like against Darrow's side. And then they were like, oh, we're going to be with his side during one of the battles. And then in the end, they freaking
And
betray
then
them again
Antonia.
at the end.
Antonia sucks.
So not Victra though. I trust her.
Yeah.
She's an interesting character, but her mother and sister did not
Do you
hold
think
up
she'll
their end of the
survive?
deal. Oh no, I think that girl's.
You
I
think
think
she's
she
dead?
died. I think she died.
Yeah, I think a lot of
Also,
people. Yeah.
can I just say, a lot of people be kissing Darrow on the mouth. Victra be kissing him on the mouth. He's like, I wish she kissed my cheek. Like she
I,
kissed my mouth.
that was so good. Yeah.
And then Mickey kissed him on the mouth too, the Carver guy, that man. Because
Yeah.
he just loves Darrow like as his like perfect specimen that he created. He's just
But
like obsessed with
also,
him.
like, Harmony did end up enslaving him and tried to, like, recreate Darrow a bunch of times and, like, forced
Mm-hmm.
Mickey into it. And so I think Mickey was also like, hey, you got me out of this. And so there was, like, a level of respect there too. But it was the same thing, like, he sucks. Like, Mickey's bad. But Darrow still sees
Mm-hmm.
the good in some.
Mm-hmm. He does. He just tried to see the good in people.
But yeah, I know
Mm.
everyone is panty dropping for Darrow. Like, they love him. He is so loved.
He's so loved, which is good. And like how he's inspiring the other colors and trying to do it subtly. Like when he first took over, like he's running away with Augustus and them from the gala, right? After being attacked by the Sovereigns group and stuff when they were trying to kill Augustus's family and all that. And he shot himself out of the smaller ship into the biggest one.
Oh,
And he's
yeah, him
like,
and Severo.
yeah, and he made that whole speech with Severo to the lower colors saying like there are going to be golds on here, they're going to try to enslave you, like I'm giving you the choice, I'm not going to like blast
I
you
give
into
you
space.
permission to attack the golds. Like, take the
Yeah.
weapons, do what you need to do. The ship is ours.
And I think so much emphasis on like lower colors getting to choose for themselves what they want in their lives is what he's really focused on. So like when he was talking to someone, I forget, it was I just read it. It was like towards the end. I think it was his mother when he goes
Oh,
back to the mines and he talks to his mom and she's like, what are we going to do with the freedom? Like everyone's just going to stay in the mines anyway. That's all we know. And I'm like, okay, yeah, some people can stay in the mines, but I think the fact that they would have a choice that they would know is what's the most important thing.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, no, when he reunited with his mom, that was one of the scenes that I was just
Oh, yeah.
crying. It's just so sweet.
Mm.
And I listened to the graphic audiobook whilst I was reading along,
Hmm.
and the narrator for the mom was just a sweet old lady.
Yeah.
So, like, she just starts talking and I was sobbing. It's just so hot mess. I was like, she's so nice. But
Yeah.
to what you were saying, I think that's what I really love about Ragnar's character, where Darrow's like, no, I'm freeing you. I don't want to be your master.
Mhm.
You have to make the choice. You can kill yourself. You can join me. You can fight me. You can come kill me. I don't care what you do, but make a choice for yourself. And I was like, that is so good.
Yeah, and it's so interesting how they manipulated the Ragnar's people, like the Obsidians, how they would like pretend to be gods by creating a famine or creating monsters to scare them, and just like then bringing food and being like, "Oh, we're these benevolent gods that like are giving, like all the
Let me send you the
manipulation."
yellows and they'll heal you of the virus we
Yeah,
plagued you with.
crazy, really
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. I think this whole book, it's really hard not to read it and then go, oh, wow, this is still very relatable. But I think it shows the complexity of racism and classism because
Mhm.
not all of the golds are bad. Some of them have hearts, some of them have compassion, but also a lot of them like lean towards that like liberal side of like, well, yeah, I don't mind if they have rights, but as long as it doesn't impose on mine. And I think
Mm,
it just has a lot of those layers of just different ways everybody in society assists the problem, where
yeah.
there are the few that speak against it, but for the most part, people are like, yeah, but I just got to be a cog in the machine to better myself.
Yeah, they have to be the cog, and even the ones like Mustang being quote unquote a reformer, she's like sympathetic, but also it's not like she's trying to change anything. She wants to change the system to be more kind, but not give them freedoms. Like they're still slaves, but she's like, oh, they're stealing the food from the Reds. Like the Greys are skimming whatever off the top. Like we need to reform that. But she's not saying, oh, they shouldn't be slaves. You know what I mean? She's
Yeah,
not quite there.
we still need the laborers, but I can look morally good if I pretend that I care about them and want to help
Mhm.
them. But in reality, it is kind of just like a morality thing. Be like, look how good I could be. But
Mhm.
I do think there is some true empathy, but I think it's still
Mhm.
not
It's
where it
not
should
far
be
enough.
or needs to be. Yeah.
For sure. All right, let's talk about finding out who Aries was. I was shocked.
Oh, I bet.
I mean, it made so much sense looking back. I was like, "Oh, yeah, he's, like, kind of around a lot," like, he's in the right spots. So, for those who are listening or watching back, it was the Fletchner guy who was the proctor in the first book, so, like, the Mars teacher guy, and then he ends up being a knight for the sovereign, so he's close to, like, the main leader of the whole
Yeah.
society. It was
And
huge.
Severo's
And
dad.
Sevro's daddy!
That's the big one, which
Yeah.
I do think that was a really good way. I like that there's like drops of twists throughout the book where it's not just like one big reveal at the end. It's like little nuggets throughout because when Darrow launches himself into the Sovereign's ship with
Mhm.
every enemy you could possibly think of, and then Fletcher just being there, and he's like, I guess it's me against all of you, and you've got to
Yeah.
have the queen bee be like, actually, you kind of have like soft feelings towards him, so you have to behead him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
He's
This is
like,
not my plan.
Actually, boom. Gotta betray you now. Give up my true
I do
intentions."
wish that I knew more of like what happened in the moment when they escaped. Like I know that Fletcher
Mhm.
like they dove out, but it's
Mhm.
like that was your chance to kill them. Like the two of you against the two
Yeah.
of them probably could have done it.
Um, they
But
had a
no.
lot of other people too. They had some grays and they had some
That's
praetors,
true.
whatever they call them.
But yeah.
Um,
That reveal
uh,
was so sweet. Just being like, tell Mustang and EO I love them. And he's like, bloody hell, man. It's not
yeah.
happening. I had a plan.
Yeah. Oh, man. So I assume you remembered that from the first time.
Yes. Yeah.
So how was it seeing the Easter eggs?
Um, I don't feel like it's quite Easter eggy. I think it's just
Mhm.
he was around and it makes the
Mhm.
most sense because
Mhm.
nobody else would make sense. But I think the biggest thing is just Severo's loyalty towards him since Red Rising. Being like,
Yeah.
that's got to have a bigger influence because
No. I mean, he
Severo
was
would
loyal before he knew. He's just
well,
always
he
been
was
loyal.
once he found out that he was a red though,
Yeah.
when Darrow killed the Proctor or whatever and was like, bloody hell
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah, when
whatever,
he found out he was a red.
and he took it out of the recording. That was when
Mhm.
Severo kind of was like, something's weird.
Yeah, he
And
knew
then
something was up for sure.
and so I think like from that point on, it was kind of just like, well, it makes sense if he's on this trajectory, but also
Mhm.
who's to say Severo wasn't super loyal because his dad was planting seeds in him beforehand too, being like, hey,
Mhm.
this guy, you're gonna want to stick with him.
Yeah, that's true. That could be definitely an option because he just said he didn't find out until before the gala, like a couple months before the gala, that
Yeah,
Darrow
he's
was with
like,
the Sons of Aries.
yeah, he was gone for 3 months and then he found out, or he was gone for 6 months and then found out 3 months in.
Mm-hmm.
And so he had a lot of time to think about it because at first he was
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, at first I was mad and everything. And so once he learned, though, he was still loyal. And the
Mm-hmm.
reveal of the story Mustang told about a red and a gold trying to have a kid and being killed and it turning out to be Severo.
Sevro's parents.
Uh,
Yes, finding out that Sevro's mother was red, I was like crazy, but it makes so much sense because everyone's like Sevro's tiny,
he's
he's
so
small.
small.
I'm like, because he's half red.
Yep. Yep. Beautiful. But knowing how Severo had to take 3 months to process before, you know, thinking this is
Mm,
the right thing to do, do you think
mhm.
Mustang will come around? Where do you think she's gone?
I don't know where she's gone. I think she won't betray him, hopefully. I think she's really in love with him. It'd be kind of messed up to betray somebody you love. Like, even if you're not happy, with them and you break up, like, are you gonna try to hurt them when you still love them? Like,
Yeah.
I was
And
just
it is
glad.
hard.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say that it is hard to also be like, I love you for who you are. And then status comes in and you go, ooh, does she
I
actually
know.
love though? Is it really love then?
And you know what? He knew that the whole time. He knew it. He was like, I don't want to get that close to her because I'm keeping too many secrets and I don't want to hurt her because I actually care about her. But she was just insistent. She's like,
Yeah.
I want to be with you. Why do you keep pulling away from me? And then he like wakes up after being, getting saved by Ares and she's in the bed with him and they have their little moment. And he's just like, all right, I'm just a man. I can only resist for so long.
Gotta bang it out. I guess I'll tell her the truth. But the way he told her the truth was cowardly.
It was
Be like,
cowardly for sure.
watch the video of my wife dying. That's me. Bye.
Yeah, here's
Like,
me getting carved up, turned into a gold from a red. Like,
yeah, it's like no
I
wonder
can't
that
handle it.
didn't go well. Like,
Yeah,
you didn't talk to her through it. She just got mad that you kept a secret for 4 years.
I know. But
But
like, she can't be that surprised. She knew something was up and she still was determined to have him.
yeah,
So I think it was nice though that he kind of got to go back to the mines and get that closure with Io because he kept feeling like he was betraying her. And
yeah.
he can just kind of close that chapter, be like, I will always love her. She's always my inspiration. But like, I was a different man. Like, that's a different
But if I
time.
have to
She's
live
not
through a
here.
war, I need to have something warm. Oh,
Yeah. It's like, what is
yeah.
life worth living for then without love?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you're fighting the good fight, but that's only gonna get you so far,
Hmm.
especially when people around you are dying all the time.
Yeah.
But it was sad for him to be like the magic of this place, of like where Io and him first saw like the surface and like really what kicked off the book and where he buries her. Like he's just like, yeah, well, it's kind of lost the magic now that I've revisited it, and it's just a dirty
Yeah.
place. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh,
That was really interesting too. Cause he had never seen anything like that before. So obviously it's going to be magical the first time. And then
yeah.
then he's like traveling the galaxies. He's seen so much more of what's out there that, yeah, just to
Yeah.
see how naive and like everything he was before. It's really
How
stark.
young they really were.
Yeah. I mean, I'm old. So when they were 16 before, I was like, ugh. I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
You're married and you're 16, but like, ooh, it's weird.
Yeah, I do
You're so
appreciate
young.
that him and Mustang were still Fade to Black. It's like, okay, we're still technically YA,
Yeah, it
so
could still be YA for sure.
I don't have to
Because
read
I feel like
smut.
when teenagers
Right.
or like people that don't have any sexual experience at all read stuff like that, they're like, I don't know what's going on. It's just very vague.
Right over. You're like, wow, they kissed and we're moving on. You're
Yeah,
like,
like
yeah.
you're not learning any tricks of the trade reading those kinds of scenes. Oh god.
Oh.
Trying to think what other major things did we learn?
What did you think of Darrow like spearheading the civil war between the Golds and like how he maneuvered all of that? Like
I
the playing that bet of like, okay, here we are, let's fight Cassius. The rules are going to be to the death.
Mhm.
And secretly, I've been training with Lorne, who is
Mhm.
phenomenal this whole time, because obviously I'm not going to just let you kill me. But then making the Sovereign show her hand, being like, oh, I have favorites. There's deep favoritism here. And I would rather you die than Cassius. And have, I love the way that it played out. It was
Oh,
such a
I
gamble,
loved
too.
it so much. It's so clever.
Yeah. It was just such a gamble the whole time. I was like, dude, you're playing, this could go bad very fast, very easy.
Yeah, he's pretty witty at times. Like when the pressure is on, like he can think up some plans quick. I thought that
Mm-hmm.
was so clever. The only thing that I didn't understand long term was him, obviously he needed to get claimed by somebody again. So he needed Augustus to be on his side. So he's like, you want to be a king, right? Like I can help you be a king. And it just fed into Augustus's ego, which was clever. But like long term, I'm like, what are you gonna do once he's like on the throne? Like then what?
Yeah, it was funny, like, the whole time he's like, "We're starting the Civil War, we're doing this fight, and we're just trading one tyrant for another." Like, it's
Exactly.
laughable how all of these golds are like, "Yeah, this is the right thing to do." And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, you're not changing anything, but
Mm-hmm.
they just care about power and who's gonna have power and who's gonna give them the power. Whereas
Yeah.
I liked Ares' plan being like, "Alright, Darrow, you get him on the throne, and then in a year or so, we'll assassinate him, make it seem like another house did it or something, and then you rule. And they were
Yeah.
this close to that happening. So close.
Yeah. So Augustus has been arrested at a minimum. Oh no! Who did he shoot in the head? Because the
Yeah.
jackal betrayed
Jackal shot
again
Augustus in the head,
and shot him in the head. That was
which
crazy.
Aja was like, "Don't do that. We need him." And Jackal
Yeah.
was like, "Nope."
I'm gonna kill my daddy.
Yeah. Vengeance is mine.
Oh
Yeah.
my
The
god.
Jackal is so unhinged throughout the whole book. And Darrow was warned so many times, but the flaw of seeing some good in people and trying to use them for his benefit really catches up to you.
I know.
Shouldn't have
Yeah.
trusted the Jackal.
And Mustang kept saying over and over again, "Don't trust my brother. Don't trust my brother." And he's like, "I don't trust him, but I need him." And then it just
Yeah.
like he wasn't wary enough of what he was scheming.
Yep. He didn't keep those cards. Again, it's like he was doing too many things all at once. He didn't keep all the cards close enough.
Mm,
Was not doing the whole keep your friends close but your enemies closer at
yeah.
all. But
Yeah.
do you think Mustang had an inkling about the Jackal's betrayal coming up? Because we
I
know
don't
she's
know about
gone
this.
because she's heartbroken, but do you think she
Yeah.
also was gone because she knew?
I think if she knew when and where, she would have warned them. Maybe she did try to warn them and it just didn't make it.
Hmm.
But I think at the end of the day, she knew the jackal was going to betray at some point. And because she kept saying, "You don't need him. You don't need him. You have me."
You have
You
me.
know, which was cute. But yeah, she knew at one point, like, he was going to betray. He had to. He's crazy.
He's crazy. He's very unhinged. Do
You
you
know what?
have
Oh, go ahead.
do you have speculations for the next book now? Like with Cassius ending it being like you killed so many kids, like you did the unthinkable. Do you have like ideas of what that could mean going forward?
What? Who killed these kids? Augustus killed the kids, right? Who killed the kids, really?
We don't know who killed the kids, I don't think. I think when
Darrow would
everybody
not
was like,
kill the kids.
no, but I think when the free for all was happening, I think there was other forces at play
Yeah.
because we know that they all felt pretty bad about kids dying. So I don't keep in mind I haven't finished Morningstar. I barely read it. So this is also speculation on
Oh, it's
my
gonna
part,
be
but I
all
just
new
don't
for
think
you.
yeah. But I just don't think his close knit friends would have done it, but that doesn't mean people in their house wouldn't.
Like people that were aligned with Augustus didn't do it. Yeah, definitely. I think
Yeah.
someone aligned with Augustus did it. I don't know. I mean, I'm so over Cassius. Like, just die. I don't care.
Oh, girl, you've got a lot coming in the next book. Like, keep in mind,
Oh,
I read 127 pages, but just like the way that the book opens, I think we're gonna get another time jump. I think it's been
mhm.
like a few months to a year jump, and it's sad. It's
Oh
so
God.
it was hard to read. I was like, this is bad. This is not great.
You know what? I felt like we lost so much progress because, well, okay. So, like, he's trying to start a revolution. He's trying to get in the right positions to overthrow the sovereign, all this stuff, whatever, break the chains. And, he's inspired a lot of people, which was good progress. But still, I'm like, okay, now what? Like, I feel like we're back at square one, at least square
Yeah,
1.5. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh God, what is he going to do now? He's got so much work left to do. And now Ares is dead.
Ares is dead. Ragnar, Severo, and Mustang are all unaccounted for. We have no clue where they are.
I was
And
so scared
Ares
Mustang
and
was going to be in the box.
yeah.
I was so scared.
Did you expect that?
Kind of.
Kind of.
It didn't
Okay.
even occur to me at all that it was going to be Ares. I was like fixated on it being Mustang
Oh, that makes sense because Darrow was thinking about her so much, being like,
because he was like, he like fell to his knees. He's like crying. I'm like, oh my God, it's fucking Mustang.
yeah. No, when it was, I remember I vlogged the experience, but keep in mind it happened in 2022. But I remember like I finished reading that and I was just like, for like a solid 5 minutes. Like I was so shocked. I was so like just completely out of myself. I was like, I can't believe that just happened.
Yeah. I filmed my reaction because you told me the end was crazy. So I had like 10 minutes left. I'm like, guys, I'm going to film my reaction. So I have all those moments where I'm like, oh,
I can't believe that happened. Yeah. That was
God.
crazy.
Yeah.
But
Cassius. like, it hurt so bad because they were really good friends in the first book. It just hurts so bad. And I'm like, Cassius, why are you so mad? Like, I get that Julian was your brother and Darrow killed him, but like, everybody killed somebody to survive. You know what I mean? Like, it sucks, but like, can you at least say you understand?
Yeah, no, it was one of those things, but it's like one of just the family feud of it all, I think
Yeah.
too. But it was also like, I don't know, why did the family agree to let Julian in the first place, knowing he was not going to be able to win that fight? Every goal that has ever gone to the Institute knows what happens. They know that they're put up against somebody, and so one of them has to die. Why would you send him? Knowing that he's just nice and too good for them.
Yeah, that's on them. That's not
Yeah,
on Darrow. That's on them for sure. That's messed up.
it's
And
so
the
sad.
mom was so melodramatic. She's like, "I'm not gonna eat unless it's Darrow's heart." I'm like, "Oh my god, okay."
Oh my god, I know. What did you think about the like the scorpion leech insect thing where they were
I
like,
love that.
I thought that was like the tension was so high,
Yeah,
but I was so intrigued with every question and answer. I was like, this is so unique. I loved the play of like, all right, you lie, you die.
yeah. I loved it, and the way that he was able to outwit her and get her to lie, and the thing was gonna stab her to death, to poison, and then
Yeah.
her warrior was like, "Nope," cut the
Yep.
tail off.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. I thought it
Freaking
was awesome.
Fletcher. Ares did that. Ares could have just been like, oh,
Oh.
I missed it. I was too slow.
Oh, you know what? I didn't notice that.
Yeah. Like,
That
there were
would've
so
saved
many
us a lot
moments.
of time.
Yeah, truly. But oh, when Mustang walked in on their like back and forth with the lies. Oh my
You know
goodness.
what? I
It
think
hurt.
because he probably did that because they would just replace her with somebody else, and he's like, "I'm already set up with her." You know what I mean? Like, he probably had a lot of plans, and it would
Yeah.
just be too hard to start fresh with somebody else that's just gonna do the same.
Yeah. Especially like somebody that cutthroat and ruthless that's just like obviously she's never gonna agree with anything Darrow attempted to do to make change.
Mhm,
Not
mhm.
that Augustus would either, but he's at least dumb enough. It's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
I can probably mold you a little bit." Especially
yeah.
once oh god, I was so happy when Pliny died. That's one of my favorite death scenes.
Wait, I was confused about that because when he first gets the message from Ares from Severo, like, before we know who Ares is, he says, like, "There are people watching you," and I thought it was, like, people watching out for him, and Pliny was listed. I was like, "Pliny's on our side?" I was like, "What?" I was so confused. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I think it was more like people are watching you in hopes like waiting for you to fuck up. Waiting for like their time to
Oh.
step in and like take advantage of the situation.
Mm.
But, when he was in that room with all of his friends or whatever, like, his crew, after he's like, "Yeah, Darrow's dead, everyone's dead, everything it's fine, we're great." And Darrow
Mhm.
walks in and is like, "Hey, babes, guess what? I'm alive." Oh, and then just, like, him walking out and just, like, not having to do any of the bloodshed, I was like, "This is such a deserved death." I
Yeah.
loved it.
That was awesome. That was so good. Oh, man. Wait, and the way that Pliny and you my husband's texting me. So it's a little distracted. But when, Mustang first told him about Pliny's betrayal and then he, like, took over the ship or whatever, and she was like, "Yeah, he said that he's, like, had his eye on me forever and that I could be his wife, so I took his eye," or something. I was like,
Yeah.
"That's badass." Also, I was like, "Ew, why is he looking at you?" And he was like, "I'll leave my wife and let you remarry to me." I was like, "Ew, dude."
Yeah, I was like, "No, I don't think so," but I loved Severo being like, uh, hey, hey guys, hey guys, can I have that eye?" Just like,
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
no. I loved Severo is again also an incredibly unhinged character throughout. He's like so unhinged, but I love Severo so much because he gives such a comedy relief throughout because
Mm,
he's just
mhm,
a a tender and funny character while also being so brutal at the same time.
mhm.
Adore him.
Yeah, like, I remember towards the end, they are having a with the whole jackal thing, right? So it was like oh, sorry. It was like, Severo was Severo there? Maybe he was there. Severo the jackal Darrow and maybe another man, Lauren
Oh,
or
where there's like
something.
all four boys.
Yeah, and
He's
he's
like,
like, "Oh, it's just all boys. Let's make sexist jokes now." I was like, I thought that was so funny.
no, I do love how like Pierce Brown's just like low key, like, hey, just so you know where I stand, gay people are fine in my world,
Mhm,
and the men in this world suck, and the bad guys are misogynistic and gross, but like the good guys, they're not like that. It's like,
mhm.
all right, okay,
Yeah.
here
No,
for
he
it.
really is. There's a lot of strong women in this story for sure, and they're respected for the most part.
Yeah, except for Vitra, who is a strong woman and deserved more respect.
Oh, I was looking at some of the quotes. I highlighted some, and one of the ones that was like a sexist one, I think it was from Pliny. He goes, I think he's talking about Mustang because she had been with Cassius, and he goes,
Oh,
after so many nocturnal summits spent engaged in horizontal diplomacy with Bologna, her stamina isn't what it used to be, as if like that's all she was doing was just like sleeping with
yeah.
him.
There was a
Like,
moment too with Augustus, like when there was like that meeting and like Mustang came an hour late and I was like, "Hey everyone, what's going on?"
mhm,
And was just kind of like being a little terror.
mhm,
And her dad said some nasty things about her
mhm,
being with Cassius
mhm,
and was just like, "You're just a whore." And then like 3 seconds later, she commanded respect again from the room. And then Augustus was like, "No, that's my daughter. I love her."
mhm.
It's like, how could you be so
Conditional love.
nasty? Oh my god, yeah.
Oh man. I have so many interesting quotes. Like another thought that Darrow had, he's talking about trying to put Augustus on the throne or whatever. I don't know. And he's like, this is about freedom, yet it seems like everyone just wants to follow because everyone's looking at Darrow like, what are we gonna do? What should we do? Like
Yeah.
nobody really wants to think for themselves that much. He's like, I'm trying to free people, like Golds too, from like this bullshit. And it's like everybody's just looking to follow,
Yeah.
changing alliances and all this stuff. I thought that was interesting.
Similar with Ragnar being like, "Think for yourself, make your own decisions." Anything
Hmm.
Ragnar said too, I was just like, "Ugh, I love this man. He says everything so right." I just love him so much.
I would be so interested to see this like visually.
Oh my god, I know. There was, like the rights for, I think, the movie got bought forever ago, and
Hmm.
I know Pierce Brown really wants something to happen, so I think that's why hopefully, that's why the last book has been so, like, stunted over the years of, like, not being happening because and I'm hoping that he's been secretly working on some form of TV show or movie.
Maybe.
Like, I
Let's
think
check.
Amazon would buy it.
When did the last book come out? Like the most recent one, I guess.
Lightbringer came out 2 years ago, I think?
Mm,
So I don't think it was last year because last year we were hoping Red God would come
mhm,
out,
and it didn't.
I think.
And then and Red, what is it? Red God, you said,
Yeah, Red God.
is going to come out hopefully this year, like the end of the year. They said.
2026.
Oh God,
Yeah. So we're a little bit early, but he
that's all right.
announced that in January. I was like, "Dude, why are you doing that to me?"
Oh man, yeah. Now we're gonna have to remember everything.
Yeah, so Eliza met Pierce Brown July 21st, 2023. So it came out
Mhm.
around there. So summer of 23 is when the last book came out.
Oh, okay. Oh gosh, wow.
So I think spring, summer of 26 is when we'll get Red God.
Mm. Okay, can I tell you more quotes that I did? I have three
Please.
more.
I didn't tab this time because I was just like, I have to finish it. I can't
Yeah,
take
you had to
time to
blast through it.
pause.
I was just doing it on the Kindle, so then on Goodreads it saves them for me, which is kind of cool.
I do love that feature.
Um, it says friendships take minutes to make, moments to break, years to repair. That's what Roke said to Darrow. I was like,
Mhm.
that's wise as hell.
Yeah, but also like red flag. How
Red
Darrow didn't
flag.
know. That's a bad sign.
Red flag for
Like, it
sure.
wasn't until Rogue put the box and they were, like, holding it together, and he was like, "You were my friend." And he's like, "Wait, were? What do you mean?"
Yeah.
Like,
Were?
"What? Why are you pretending like you're shocked right now?" Like, and he's like, "This is a
Oh.
goodbye. Something bad is happening." I'm like, "You think?" Yeah.
So how did they all find out about him being red?
My so, the jackal said something about
Oh yeah.
him letting like Darrow letting it slip when they were in Attica or something
Attica
like
or
that.
something? Was that at the
Yeah,
bar they met up?
I think so. And so I don't know what exactly slipped because I guess I didn't pay that much attention, but like I don't know what he caught on to, but it seemed like the Jackal started figuring things out. And
Mhm.
the Jackal was also like on hot pursuit of the son of Ares and had arrested like Harmony and Dancer and a bunch of those
Mhm.
people.
Maybe they
So
gave him up.
I don't think they gave him up necessarily. I mean, Harmony might have, somebody
Mhm.
else might have, but I
Mhm.
think that he was just starting to piece a lot of things together.
Mhm.
And I mean, there's also like video footage of everything happening. So like, I don't know. Maybe they weren't that
Mhm.
careful. Like, yeah, several like took out the bloody dam from the video, but like, okay,
Mhm.
there could be another video around. There's a video of his
Mhm.
carving and stuff. Like,
Mhm.
and if you
Oh,
have the Jackal who is controlling all of the media right now, he might be able to get his hands on those types of videos.
you know what else is so disappointing about that reveal and like Roke finding out and all that stuff? Like, it's one thing for Roke to be upset that he was personally kept out of the loop and he felt like he wasn't valued by Darrow and all this stuff and that they weren't really friends. But for him, some of the stuff he said was really messed up. Where he was like, "You're a red, like, I don't follow a slave," like,
Yeah.
just the classism coming from him. I was like, "Dude, I thought you were supposed to be nice." Like,
Yeah,
the
he's like,
hell?
"You've always been a brother and a friend to me until I found out you're actually lower and less than me. So actually, no,
Yeah.
we're not brothers anymore." And it's like, God, it sucks because like some people still think that way. Like some white nationalists are like, "No, I am better than other people. Or I'm
Yeah.
better than people of color." And it's like, no, everybody is human. Like Darrow's whole speech to Mustang being like, "No, we are all people. We're all human. We all experience the same thing and feel the same thing. It doesn't matter what part of the class system we are."
Yeah.
And then for
You know what?
Roke at the end to be like, "You dirty rat." Ugh.
I know. I have this funny comparison in my mind where he's like, "We're not brothers," like, as if they're not the same species, right? But I'm thinking of, like, all the dog parents out there that if they have kids, they're like, "Oh, my son's the brother of my dog." Like,
My mom did that to me. She was like, "Your brother blew my goo." I'm like, "Mom, he's a beagle." Like, it's not the same type of relationship. I have siblings.
Yeah, exactly. So funny. So if people can compare it to dogs and animals and have that love, like, come on, dude.
Right?
We're not that different. Uh, yeah, I think I'm gonna try to start the third one sooner than later because it's long. It's like 520. I look 526 pages. This is a lot.
I will also be starting sooner than later because I'm not doing this again. I simply
Famous
shouldn't.
last words.
I know. But we'll probably do I guess I should probably give us a little bit more time since this one got pushed, but I was aiming for the 2nd or the 9th for the Morning Star
Let's see.
live show. Another Wednesday.
Of April
Yes.
2nd or the 9th. I could do the 9th. You know what? I started putting like placeholders in my calendar for
Same.
like potentially when you'd want to have the live shows.
I've
And
done
I
the
put it
same
on the
thing.
9th. So I guessed well that
Perfect.
time.
Yeah, no, that works for me because that way it gives us a little bit more time to read it just 'cause
Yeah.
I kinda pushed
So
this one off a little bit.
again, I know we talked about this before, but I don't remember. So this is the end of the trilogy. And then you said it switches to other characters in the
I
remaining ones?
So I think it goes Red Rising, Golden Sun, Morning Star, and those are all first person with Darrow.
Mhm.
And then I think it's Iron Gold, Dark Age, Lightbringer. But I think those ones start having multi POV.
Okay. But we're still probably gonna spend time with Darrow, hopefully. I'm like,
I'm
I'm not ready to
assuming
leave him. I
so,
hope not.
but
Oh my
also haven't read them, so he could fully die, and I just wouldn't
yeah.
know.
Oh god. Oh
But
no.
I don't think so. I feel like my friends probably would have spoiled that one if that was the
Yeah.
case.
I'm so curious if like they'll have like big time jumps or anything. Maybe. So
Probably.
yeah. Yeah, probably. I'm so intrigued. I'm also like being tortured. I'm like, equality, damn it. Break the chains. I'm like, we got so many books left.
I know. It's just like, okay, how are we gonna get to the part where like we're in a utopia and it's good again? Like
I
when does
know.
that happen? When do him and Mustang get married and have kids and they have beautiful little mixed gold and red babies?
Yeah. I just want to feel like we're continuing to make progress and maybe like new problems arise versus kind of feeling like it's the same problem, you know?
Yeah. I was thinking about it. There's a moment where Dara was like, maybe not this generation or the next, but
Mhm.
eventually things can get better for people. And I was
Mhm.
thinking about that now, and I'm like, yeah, I do think that's true. Like, I think Darrow's putting in all of this work and this labor, but I don't think he'll see the benefits of it because it'll be generations as it like slowly, hopefully, things change and people progress and like the views shift. Similar to like the 60s, we had the civil rights movement and people started like shifting their views, but it's still like racism is still happening. It's not
I
like
know.
gone away.
I
And
feel
so I
like we've
wonder if it's
regressed a lot
yeah.
as a society.
Oh,
So much
yeah.
regression.
Hopefully the younger generation though won't keep regressing.
I
And
don't
that's all
know.
we
I
can
don't
hope.
have
Like
that much faith.
if all the old people die and they're racist, it's like fine. But
I used to think that, Sam. I used to have hope, and I'm like, I see some young people say some stupid things. So
yeah.
stupid.
See, I don't go on Twitter because that place is scary. And I curate my Bookstagram to follow book accounts. So I
Yeah.
don't really see much of the outer perspective, especially around like what kids are saying. But I do remember when Donald Trump got elected and all the boys are like, or when Roe v. Wade got overturned, all the boys were like, "Your body, my choice," and I was like, "Oh, we're doomed. If this is what
We're
teenage boys are
doomed.
saying,
We're
there is
doomed.
no better."
They're following like I don't even remember what that guy's name was. The macho alpha male
Nick
bullshit.
Fuentes or something.
One of those. There's too many
I
of
know.
them.
I watch a lot of Tom Piker, so like I know a little bit too much about politicians and just like how gross they are. But yeah, I remember that happening, and I was like, "We're doomed.
Yeah.
There's no better."
We'll just pray on it, to whatever whatever being can help us. I don't know.
Yeah, at this point, I'm just like, okay, I'll make sure that my library doesn't go out of service. I guess just do what I
Yeah.
can.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see. I'm excited to continue on for sure. Hopefully,
I'm
we get some good conclusions.
yeah, because it feels like it seems like Morning Star will be the end of an arc, and so I'm really interested to see like where it's going to go after that because one of them I thought was a prequel, but I don't actually know if it is. But
Mhm.
I thought like what I thought ahead of time before reading all the books is I thought that Iron Gold was the like future novel of like after the
Mhm.
events of Morning Star, and then
Mhm.
I thought Dark Age was a prequel, but I don't know if that's the
Oh.
case anymore.
Oh, that would be interesting.
'Cause
Oh, it'd be interesting to see if that's true, if they kinda talk about the Obsidian Rebellion, the original one.
oh, that'd be so good. I know that Red God is like the last book in the series, but I do wonder if Pierce Brown's gonna like stay within the world or if he's gonna actually like take an exit. Because this came out
Oh.
what 10 years ago?
Red God just sounds like Darrow.
Yeah, yeah. This came out in 2015, so
Oh,
exactly
smart.
10 years
10
ago.
years ago. Wow. We'll see, yeah. We'll see. I'm
If
invested.
Darrow had an Instagram, what kind of selfies would he post?
Angry one.
Interesting question.
I feel like selfies with Victra. She'd be like,
I feel like it
"Smile,"
would
and he'd
be
be
like
like,
a lot of friend photos, a lot of him and Severo, I'm sure. But also, like, I think like a couple random like gym thirst trap videos and pictures.
"Really?"
Where he's like, I'm at the gym again, but like trying to be a shy boy.
It'd probably have like a Instagram manager, like he'd have
Oh, for
somebody take pictures
sure.
for him,
Oh,
you
for
know.
sure. Somebody has to make sure that his image remains good as he's like killing people all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, that's a really interesting aspect of the book too, how much the media played a role,
Yeah.
being like, "Film this, like, we need to spread this information or, like, spread this propaganda," like, I thought that was a really interesting aspect.
Yeah, and how like the Jackal had so much sway over what was being shown and like had
Mhm.
the jammers or blockers or whatever. So it was like I can shut down a network for a time and like play my own thing for a little bit. I do like that it feels more sci-fi in this book, but
Mhm.
not
Oh, we
like
spend so
still
much time into it.
sci-fi, but it's not so sci-fi that you're like, what's going on? I don't understand. But
Yeah.
when they talk about like the different gravities on the different planets, I'm like, this is cool. This is so cool. I love the idea of like, what if the entire solar system was habitable?
Yeah.
Like that's so fun.
I like their technologies too, like with the grav boots. And when
Yes.
Darrow, he gets on the ship with the Sovereign to try to kill him, but he doesn't have grav boots on, and everybody else does. And she's like, roll the ship. And he like has this bomb that he's threatening them with, and he rolls, he's like, and he drops it.
That was so funny. I think that Pierce Brown has such a way with like serious tension and stakes and then like comedy. It's so
Yeah,
fun.
that was so funny. Because usually he's so quick with it. I was like, oh, he's got a bomb. That was so clever. And then it was like gone. I was like, never
Nope.
mind.
But I think it also goes to show that like he's a 20-year-old boy
Mhm.
trying to play ball with the Sovereign who's like really
She's
old because
old.
she won't die and she killed her own dad to get that spot. So it's like, yeah, these people know what they're doing. It's not a bunch of kids in the institute anymore. And
Yeah,
I
that's
think it kind of checks him every once in a while where it's like, okay, yeah, he thinks that he's all that, but actually he's still a young adult.
yeah. Oh
But
man.
I did love the grav boots and how they were like when it was they were like going under the water to get to the other side. But before that, they were like, somehow we landed 300 kilometers away. I guess we'll skip to our destination.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like,
La,
huh?
la.
And it's just them jumping up and then going back down in their grav boots. I
Yeah,
was like, that's so fun.
yeah. Also, I think the technology with the and sometimes it's hard for me to visualize, but what do they call it? They're like whip sword type thing. I forget what that's called.
Oh, yeah, it's not the glaive.
I don't remember.
I'm sure if I open the book a couple of times, the razor.
The razor and how he
Yeah.
gave it to Ragnar.
Ragnar. Yeah.
And then the Thistle girl or whatever, she was like, put that down.
I know.
It's only for the golds, but Darrow's like, again, maybe in the least subtle way, he's like trying to show the colors that you are more than what you're told you can be.
Yeah. It's like, it's a weapon. You'll be fine. It's not
Yeah.
that bound to honor, but whatever. Culture, I guess.
Yeah. And then he
But
just how scared he was of it. Ragnar was scared of it. He's like, I'm gonna like be cursed or something because the golds
yeah,
had brainwashed them to think that. But
it
him
is
coming
fun
into
seeing.
himself. Oh,
Yeah, I do love seeing like the de-brainwashing of Ragnar being like, no, we're not gods. You're fine. We can do this together. Like, I can see you as an equal. And that just being like so mind-blowing for Ragnar. I
yeah.
love him. I love him so much.
Yeah. And I like how he had his, how Darrow had his pink Theodora. Because she was an
Yes.
older pink too, who usually gets like kind of thrown to the side, but he like values her and keeps her in.
She's the
in
master of
good health.
secrets. She knows
Yeah.
everything. I love
Yeah.
that.
Really interesting too. Yeah, I'm
And when
interested
like
to see more colors, brought
yeah,
into the fold.
I did appreciate having at the beginning of the book like the proper like, all right, here's all of the colors, here's what they do,
Yeah.
like here's what they mean. I was like, this is so helpful.
Yeah,
This is
I
everything
definitely did
needed.
reference that a couple times. I did.
But yeah, it's I do love seeing like the snippets of it. I loved seeing all the blues and Orion being the new ship
Mhm.
captain. I
Mhm.
loved like the offhanded moment between Mustang and Darrow when she's like, well, if you don't like Mozart, what kind of music do you like? Don't tell me it's that electronic music the Greens love. And I'm like, oh my god, that's me. Oh my gosh. But I just love the way that it just like slipped. I was like, oh, the Greens invented electronic music. And I was just like, this is so
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. I do like the references to like things that are familiar in our normal society,
Yeah.
like
I
referencing
love
the
the way
Iliad and things like that. I'm
yes.
like, oh, you guys still think about the Iliad?
Yeah, this whole world is so very Greek
Mhm.
influenced and like just tragedies in history. I really like the part where everyone was like, Roke, you're not very fun to be around. Like, you're just too serious. And like, you're just good at writing poets. And he's like, no, I have a joke. Who was the first carpenter? They're like,
He's like,
who?
Eve,
Goes,
she made
"Eve."
Adam's banana stand. I was like, ew.
But
That did make me laugh out loud.
What's his name? Dazo?
Uh-huh.
Daxo.
Daxo, maybe?
That's it. But
Mhm.
him just cackling, like just absolutely losing his mind over that joke was such a
Mhm.
pure moment for me. I was like, this is hilarious. I love this. I love that tenderness.
Yeah. It makes him more human.
Yeah. But I love those little moments of just like I love how every time they're about to go into a war, him and Severo start bickering, and I love when everybody else jumps on too. It's just like, it's so cute.
Mm,
Really gives that found family feel for me.
yeah, I agree. Oh, I just need some wins. I just need them to win. I mean, they did win the planet at the end of the day. Well,
Yeah.
maybe not
But
for
then at
long.
the end, not quite the end, but
Yeah. Oh.
I am so excited for you to start Morningstar
Hmm.
because we'll be experiencing most of that together for the first
Hmm.
time. But it doesn't start happy. So I am, oh, please don't stand on my keyboard. I am a little nervous of like, is it going to get better?
Mm.
Please stop
Mm.
standing on my keyboard.
Oh, the cat pressed that. So
I had to
funny.
move all my mouse and my keyboard like so she could sit.
Oh. I did read the preview or the synopsis, not the synopsis. What do you call it? The description of the third book. So I'm just like, the betrayals of the friendship. What is he going to do? And I'm like,
Yeah,
I have no guesses. I really have no idea what he's going to do. I'm along for the ride.
same. Same. I have very few theories. I think he'll survive. I think, or maybe it's more of like I hope that Mustang will come through with Severo and Ragnar
Mm-hmm.
and be like, no, I can love you even if you're a red. And I think maybe Darrow can like re-transition into a red again and they can have cute
Really?
mixed babies. That's my hopes.
Oh, I
That's
don't
my
think that
goal.
will happen. I
I don't
think
think it'll happen either, but I would like for that to happen.
really to be
I
his
mean,
true self
everybody
again.
knows now.
Yeah, but I don't even think he would want to go back. Honestly, I don't even think he would
Fair.
want to.
I feel like, yeah, it wouldn't be worth the process because
Could
it's
you
not a
imagine?
fun process. Yeah, it's a little
Um,
traumatic.
Mustang's probably like 6'5". He was probably
True.
like 5 something when he was a red.
That's a good point.
As a gold, he's like 7'5".
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
And then the Ragnar is like 9 feet or something. He's a giant.
Yeah,
That's
I
why
do
I think
wonder
also.
though,
Oh, go
like
ahead.
if they could so easily make a red into a gold, like
What?
would the future of the society of like instead of having like a specific like you are this color in this class system, would people just like start getting cosmetics for whatever color they wanted? Like, oh, this is a feature from the green people and I want that and then blah blah blah. And like
Mhm.
honestly, I'm just thinking about like, okay, if everybody just has mixed babies,
Mhm.
you can't really have the same hierarchy because they don't fit into molds anymore, but that would be
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. It's an interesting thought. I mean, even now in like in the real world, like having ambiguous people walking around, you're like, what are you? And you can't place them because you can't categorize them. You're like, you
Yeah.
don't need to know. You can't categorize. You know?
Well, it's kind of like you, I'm sure, where like to most people you're just a black woman,
Hmm.
but you're not.
Hmm. And I go to the Asian groups, and like when I was in college, I'm like, I'm Asian too. Like, include me, please.
I can be a part of many groups. Thank
Yes.
you.
Yes. So, but yeah. All right. I'm excited.
Anything
We'll
else?
talk we'll talk more about the third book. I'll be texting in the chat.
Oh yes. I loved when you were like, I found out who Aries is. And I was like, Daphne, I have to finish this book. I cannot be texting right now. I'm so engaged in what's happening to you.
How fast did you listen to it?
I think I was at 2.5 most of the
Okay, that's
time,
not
just because the graphic
crazy
audio
fast.
has a lot of voices and a lot of sound effects. And some of the sound effects,
They sound
too much.
crazy when they're fast.
It's not even that, it's just like the gore of the book where you're like, oh, okay, there's squishing sounds for death, and I don't need those.
Oh.
So
Would you
there's like
listen to
some
the graphic audio for the next one or no?
oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna commit. I'm gonna go and listen. I like having the full cast to listen
Mhm.
to. I really enjoy the way that like everybody has such a distinct voice, and
Mhm.
I think that helps me connect to the characters more and like
Do they
just
sound
totally.
younger? Because when I listened to the regular audio of the first one, it sounded like an old man reading Darrow's voice. I was like, I
I
don't
would
really like this voice.
yeah, I think they sound younger.
Okay, good.
I mean, I think it's honestly like aged well. Like I think the older characters have older voices and the younger characters sound more young adult, middle
appropriate.
aged.
Because the guy reading the original, he just sounded like an old man. I'm like, why does Darrow sound like this?
That is fair, yeah. It's like you're supposed to be 16.
Yeah, you get used to it, but at first I was like, this is bizarre.
This is not matching.
Yeah. And then the singing too. I was like, this is awkward.
Yeah.
I'm sure in the graphic audio it's like better.
Oh my god, the singing in the original audiobook and in the graphic novel have made me cry. Like I'm a
Really?
sucker for that song. That song makes me so emotional. Who doesn't matter who sings, because the original audiobook, he sings it for Io and himself. But at the very end, they like hired some girl to professionally sing it with music and stuff. And I just cried at the end of the book.
That's sweet. I have yet to cry, but I will keep you up to date on my crying if I end up.
Yeah, I think
emotional.
it's a me thing. Like one, I'm rereading these, so I think it's hitting me a bit harder, but also I'm so stressed that I'm just crying over a lot of things.
It's an emotional release, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Sammy,
But
should we end it?
yeah.
I got dinner with my husband.
Yeah. I think we said everything that we needed to go over. I think we talked about this pretty in depth, and I am happy with it. So thank you, anybody who watched. I hope you all have a great night. Anyone who's watching this in the future, have a great whatever time it is, and we will see you guys tentatively April 9th.